Now, today in the battle arena, well, we've got a mega fight coming your way. Superman, the Man of Steel, the last son of Krypton, is going up against Godzilla, the king of all the monsters. So who's coming out on top here? Well, let's find out. Alright, now before we get started in the breakdown, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications for more great videos like this one every single week. All done? Okay, great. Now let's get into it. Now, Superman is the Man of Steel, the strongest hero in the DCEU. And so, the first thing I want to take a look at is just how strong is he? Well, in Man of Steel, Superman was able to hold up part of an oil rig platform, sent Namek flying away with a punch, and flipped over several 150-ton trains in the process. He stood under, overpowered the World Engine's gravity beam that was transforming Earth into Krypton. He's withstood the pull of the Phantom Zone, which mimics a small black hole, and destroyed a large part of Metropolis during his fight with General Zod, even punching Zod across the majority of the city, just 2 hits. In Batman v Superman, Clark pulled a 6,000-ton ship and sent Doomsday flying hundreds of meters through space. Then, finally, in Justice League, post-Resurrection, he effortlessly overpowered Aquaman, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman. Didn't even move an inch when they attacked, with Wonder Woman and Aquaman being the 2 powerhouses of the League before Clark showed up. He's destroyed the new god Steppenwolf, creating shockwaves with his strikes, lifted up a 7,000-ton building, managed to separate the 3 mother boxes. And even though this is kind of difficult to quantify, it took the power of Zeus to do it last time. So just insane power. On the other hand, well, Godzilla is the mightiest titan out there. So just how strong is he? Well, Godzilla's destroyed skyscrapers by pushing the Mutos and Ghidorah straight through them. And he straight up leveled cities in his fights. Plus, I really think a lot of Godzilla's strength is made even more impressive when we take a look at weight. Godzilla knocked over these skyscrapers by pushing the female Muto and King Ghidorah. And while we're not exactly sure how much the Muto weighs, we do know that Ghidorah weighs a little over 140,000 tons. Over 100,000 tons! That's way more than Superman has ever pushed. Not only that, but Godzilla himself is close to 400 feet tall and 90,000 tons. So he's freaking massive himself. In fact, he's so big, created a tsunami just by walking out of the water. He's got a pretty powerful bite too. He would toss both the male and the female Mutos around by biting into their bodies and then just chucking them. Also chomped down on one of Ghidorah's heads, tore it off completely. Even his tail is strong. He's outright killed a Muto with one swing, accidentally knocked over a skyscraper in the process. But, what about durability? Both of these guys can dish out a punch, but can they take one in return? Well, Superman has taken blasts from a Kryptonian warship, taken a whole barrage of attacks from Batman trying to kill him. He took Doomsday's energy blast and giant energy waves, even survived a nuclear explosion. Superman is also at the center of that explosion, which means that it was reaching temperatures 10 to 15 times hotter than the sun, ripping apart protons, neutrons, and electrons from the atoms. And yeah, Kal was injured by the attack, nearly killed by it. But he survived and still managed to recover from it. Clark has also been tossed through multiple skyscrapers, smashed through a mountain. He's taken attacks from Doomsday, from General Zod, from Feora and Namek. And after being resurrected, was completely unfazed by attacks from Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg all at the same time. Plus, a big advantage that we gotta talk about here is that Superman basically has a healing factor. If Clark is ever significantly injured, which he has been in the past, well, he can return back to full power just by being exposed to the sunlight. And we can't count Superman as being taken out of the fight during the times where he needs sunlight, because one, he recovers so quickly, and two, well, Clark has actually regularly been injured, exposed to sunlight, and then came back and won the fight. Same thing could potentially happen here. But honestly, it really doesn't matter because Godzilla is so much tougher. I mean, he's almost just in a league of his own. He's taking consistent attacks on the Mutos, Rodan, and King Ghidorah. Like we said, King Ghidorah weighs 140,000 tons and is easily just as strong as Godzilla himself. In a tie-in comic for the 2014 movie, Godzilla actually withstood the Permian impact, which is a collision that killed all life of that era. And even someone like Superman just pales in comparison to that impact. Godzilla has also survived the Castle Bravo nuke. It had a 14 megaton yield and was the largest detonated nuke in American history. Then in King of the Monsters, Godzilla survived a nuclear blast that destroyed an underwater city directly to the face and was completely unfazed and survived the detonation of the oxygen destroyer, which was designed to destroy all the oxygen and kill everything within a 2-mile radius upon impact. Compared to Godzilla, Superman just can't compete. Then there's Godzilla's atomic breath, which is something we haven't really talked about yet. This ray is so powerful. It's able to weaken and kill the female Muto and push around King Ghidorah. We've already been over how large those monsters are. It's also just a stream of nuclear fire, so you can kinda assume it has some pretty intense radiation output, especially since this is a weapon that Godzilla uses to hurt other titans, other creatures that also eat radiation for breakfast. The Mutos actually stole a nuke for food, but Godzilla's breath is so intense it can melt their insides and harm their outer shell. But on the other hand, well, Clark has his speed, and Superman has been able to move so fast that it can nearly keep up with the Flash, and move so fast that Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg all look like bona fide statues. He even had a full fight with the Flash while they were suspended up in the air. Superman is so much faster than Godzilla, it's not even funny. And here's what I think this whole fight comes down to. So Godzilla is the stronger one out of the two. I think that much is fair to say. It's hard to see this version of Superman pushing around hundreds of thousands of tons as easily as Godzilla. But based on what we saw in Man of Steel and his fight against Zod, well, I think Clark is strong enough to hang with Godzilla. No, the real fight is all about Superman's speed versus Godzilla's durability. Is Godzilla tough enough to take Superman's attacks for long enough before he can put Clark down? Or is Superman fast enough to avoid all of Godzilla's attacks for long enough to eventually put Godzilla down? That's the real question here. And don't get me wrong, Superman is the faster one out of the two. No question about it, no doubt about it. But the thing is, Godzilla is kinda super freaking fast too. See this scene right here? Godzilla's tail is actually moving at supersonic speeds. And that's not me saying that, that's the VFX guy saying that. He's not running as fast as Superman, not even close. But a tail swipe or a foot stomp, well, it looks like that's actually within the realm of possibilities. And I think that's the more likely outcome than Superman just slowly wearing him down. Because Godzilla is just so freaking tough. He survived the Castle Bravo nuke, survived the Oxygen Destroyer, was actually just amped up and pumped up by a nuke going off right in his face. He's taken King Ghidorah, dropping him from way up high in the atmosphere, even withstood the Permian impact, an extinction-level event. Godzilla is one of the toughest guys that you've ever seen in any movie. It's going to take forever for Superman to drop him. Is it even possible to drop him in the first place? On the other hand, we just saw that Godzilla can move fast enough for there to at least be the possibility he tags Superman. And all he gotta do is just tag Supes once. Kal was put down by a nuclear bomb, at least for a moment, and what's Godzilla but just a walking ball of nuclear energy? His atomic breath can clearly do some damage to Superman. And compared to how tough and strong Godzilla is, compared to Superman barely being able to injure Godzilla at all, well, I think that about seals the deal here. Superman's great, Superman's powerful, but I think they're still just operating on two different tiers. Godzilla is just more powerful, no way around it. The king of the monsters is coming out on top here. Godzilla wins. But what do y'all think? Who do you think wins this fight? Do you think Godzilla remains triumphant, or that Superman actually wins? Sound off in the comments down below. Also be sure, that like button, subscribe button, turn notifications, more videos just like this one every single week. Join the Fanco army, and I will see y'all next time.